here we're going to continue exploring some of the most powerful ideas in the Urantia Book and why it brings them forward. From a deeper understanding of the nature of God to the untold early life of Jesus we're seeing, to the path that encourages questioning rather than blind beliefs. Perhaps most importantly, this is a message offered without fear, dogma, or pressure. It's simply an invitation to explore, to question, and to discover truth for yourself. The table is open and the conversation continues. So, Don, you were telling us about this last in our last segment. One of the aspects that it brings to the table that's really interesting, and I think people are going to really like.
Yeah, it has to do with what happens after death.
Yes.
And this is very, very well detailed in the Urantia book. Nearly every religious tradition hints at survival after death, but the mechanics are vague. Paul had that cryptic reference in 1 Corinthians 15:44 to us getting a spiritual body after we die. But what actually happens? The Urantia book gives us a detailed explanation of, first of all, what is a human?
Mm-hmm.
What are all the components that make us up? We have a soul, we have mind, we have volition, we have a physical body, and we have what's known as that pilot light that indicates that we are alive. We have the father fragment, we have a soul. Okay. So when we die, the Urantia book gives us the very most minute details of what literally happens the moment you die, when the breath of life leaves you and that spark that is in the body that indicates you have life is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into all the details because I want you to enjoy this as you're reading through it. But I'll tell you this. It tells us every step of what is happening while we are laying in that unconscious state until we are repersonalized on the mansion worlds that Jesus talked about. Remember, he said, in the house of my Father,
Yeah.
there are many abodes. Well, these are the mansion worlds that he was talking about. So we have the details of what happens during that period of initial unconsciousness, what's going on in the celestial atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
while we're waiting to be repersonalized. What happens as soon as we open our eyes in this repersonalized state? What kind of body do we have? What does our environment look like? What will we see when we first open our eyes? Who will we encounter? Where will they take us? And how does life begin for us in these new bodies? In
Mm-hmm.
detail. There is no other religious work or writing that can provide such a detailed map of what happens from mortal life transitioning into what is known as the Urantia life,
That's what I
which
was
is the
going to
next,
ask you.
which is the
That's
next,
yeah.
yeah, which is the next stage of existence for mortals after they are repersonalized or resurrected and then working towards becoming a true spirit. So all of these details are there. I mean, what kind of a mind would you need in order to write something like this?
Yeah.
I mean, once you began to delve into this, for me, I could immediately see this is something that is beyond human intelligence because the insights and the descriptions that are given are beyond our ability to know.
And the way that it's presented, Don, and this is something that really struck me, and the way that I got introduced into with the Urantia book is somebody read a quote, and for me it was so truthful, so commanding, so loving. It had all the elements. It was, so balanced and so perfect that I knew that this wasn't, human. And speaking about this, I think, and especially this topic, you personally, I think, found a lot of comfort in this topic, in the life after death topic in your personal life, when you understood this. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yes. Prior to reading about this, I had I would say, a fear of death.
Hmm.
And I was on this path of health and nutrition to extend my life as long and as far as I could, to avoid having to meet with that eventuality. After I read about the life that awaits us after this life, it was like, I can't wait to get out of here. Honestly,
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get out of here. And all of a sudden, it seemed like my life started slowing down,
Okay.
trying to keep me further away from reaching that beautiful repersonalization journey. I totally overcame the fear of death because
This
what
is
happened
significant.
inside of me was a true realization that this is real. This was not illusory to me. And then what followed upon that was another uh, insight that happened. Um, I would say probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years. I came to the conclusion that as a mortal, this is the only time I will be able to experience what it is like to be a human. This will never be repeated. The opportunity to try and attain the highest level of human life, of trying to live as high a level, as close to the level of Jesus as is attainable for a mortal, and to try and really get the most beautiful experiences I can out of this mortal life. Because after it is over, that's it.
Yeah.
Life beyond this is going to be, by an order of magnitude, way more fulfilling, more wonderful, with a greater absence of pain and misery. But this life that we have now is a foundation for springing into the next life. And you don't want to leave this life without having fully experienced what it is to be a human. So
I love
while
this. Yeah.
while I deeply appreciate the future life, learning about this has helped me to understand and value my present life even more than I ever have.
This is really good, Don. I like it. That's why I always end this podcast with carpe diem. Carpe diem is seize the day. I mean, go and do whatever. I mean, what's in your hands and your capabilities and your possibilities to be the best version of yourself. And I take it to very simple explanation. I mean, energy just is a positive and negative or neutral charge. It's okay. I mean, you can be a neutral. Yeah. I mean, the idea is not to be a negative, but if you can be something positive, you can bring that positive energy, that positive acumen. It's not just energy, it's in the service, it's in the work. That's why it's in the verb, it's in the doing. If you bring this and you really live every day, like you're saying, trying to become the best version of that human self, because it's the only life that you're going to have truly. It's the only life that you're going to have as a human. You're going to have a very long and fruitful and interesting life afterwards. But I mean, what else can you take from this life? This is something that's really good, Don. And thanks for putting this into perspective. I think a lot, our audience and anybody that's watching this is going to take a lot from this. So I think it's also important to point out. We mentioned it a little bit in the first segment. The nature of God. I think it's important that we go beyond the primitive concept, just and really understanding the dimension of God and how I like this, how he distributes himself. He's he has to be like the center. He's the gravity of everything, of matter, of spirit, of everything. Everything stems from there. But the way that he lives the universe, and the way that's why the universe exists, is because he wanted to experience this, grandeur, or not grandeur, but this, realization of his son. So I think this is a very interesting concept of the father and his children, and the way that we understood it, or that was primitively presented, and the way that the Urantia book presents it.
And so that's why I think that there's so many venues now that are openly talking about it. It's been quiet. The Urantia book has quietly been gathering readers from diverse parts of the world, cultures, languages, and so forth. They are collaborating with each other, and now they're finding uh, various vehicles to share this revelation with as many people as possible. So if any of these topics that we have been talking about has, caused an individual to question it, even the slightest bit, this is worth your investigation. It is. I think you will be rewarded beyond what you ever anticipated you could get. And if for no other reason, in order for us to understand and grow our mindset and thinking, we have to stretch it beyond what we have already read, studied, and conceived of. We need something larger and bigger than what we already have. And this provides that.
Hmm.
Um, and I would like to encourage everyone, as soon as the podcast is over, to make an effort to dive into this, to acquire yourself a copy of this. Go through the table of contents. You will find a plethora of topics that will just give you an example. When I was first introduced to this, because I had some questions that I put to my ministry partners, and by the time they had let me know about this, they said, this will answer all of the questions that you've ever had and some that you have never even thought to ask. And
Exactly.
I found that to be so. I've never felt so stabilized in living in this world because, as you know, right now our planet is in the midst of some epical changes that everyone is acknowledging is
Yeah.
very different from any past time in history. And for many of us, even as the Urantia book acknowledges, it's been unsettling, it's been disorienting. People are fearful, they're anxious, they're afraid of the future. We're hearing of what AI could possibly do to the future of work and all those institutions that we look to for stability. So, where do we get the mental and psychological wherewithal to get through with this
Yeah.
and maintain a level of tranquility and peace and comfort? Well, if we can understand that we're not alone, that this world is not on its own wayward trajectory into whatever happens, and that we're thrown against the wall by whatever force may be at play, when we understand that we are divinely watched over and cared for
Yeah.
in the midst of all of
All
the
this.
chaos and
Yeah.
catastrophe, and that the comfort that it offers is given to us in a way that resonates with us, that this is true. It is
Yeah.
tremendously stabilizing and comforting. And it helps, it can really help stabilize us psychologically with what we're facing right now.
Definitely, and I
Definitely,
think
and I
that's
think
one of the
that's one of the
reasons why
reasons why.
a lot of people are turning, because I mean they don't find the answers in any of the other places that we talked about. So like we're saying, it's on the fringe, or in the on the on the frontier, of this. And one of the things that I also want to point out, and that the Urantia book does not replace your faith; it augments it. It's not that, okay, so throw away your God. No, no, no. God, as we always have said, is a personal relationship with you. I mean, everybody has their own personal relationship. You do not. I mean, it's that is a given. So we're not substituting anybody, and there's no boogeyman, there's no hook, there's no catch, there's no, oh, you have to do this, or in order to get into heaven you have to give us our money or give us our that, or that. What I like about the organization, and I'm telling you my experience when I came in 26 years ago. I mean, I just replied, the business reply mail thing, with my information. Somebody said, okay, if you want to, I mean, there's readers in Mexico, if you want to share. I mean, they're going to meet in this library, bookstore, sorry. They're going to give a presentation. And I said, I sure, I'll go. And I found people, and that was pretty nice. That I found people, and we started talking about it in a more of a experience, and academic way, instead of an ecclesiastical dogmatic, and there's a ritual and everything. And that's the whole thing about the Urantia book. It's there's a foundation that does the translations, publishes it, distributes it, and then there's many, many organizations of readers, such as the Center for Unity, which is the one that sponsors this podcast, that we want to share, and we know each other. That's how I got to meet Don, and we talk about this, and we share this information, because of course it uplifts you, and it makes you understand God much better, not just from reading it, but from sharing Him. And I think this is very important, what we're doing, that we're sharing God, and we're sharing this explanation, and through our conversations, I gain a lot. I think, Don, you gain a lot. And the important thing is that people that watch us can take all of this, and really, augment their faith. And really, there's no catch, but really, your divine within coming out into the world.
Yeah, I just want to, in closing on my part, mentioned piggyback off of something you said, which I think is vital, and that is there is no hook.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In other words, there is, as you read through this, there is not a formula that says you must do this, as if there is a cleaver hanging over your head, and if you don't believe this and take this uh, as it is written right now, you are, headed for eternal damnation and all of that business. What it does do is invites us to explore. It's an invitation to explore. We have the capacity and the tools through our God-given imagination, through the Spirit of God that dwells within us, through the intellect that we have been given as an endowment of being immortal. And we're
Yeah.
invited to put all these tools together to enhance and enlarge our spirituality and our cosmic understanding of the universe. And for me, that was so beautiful, especially after coming and being delivered from a very authoritarian religion that I grew up
Okay.
in. This was so, this was like um, spring water,
Yeah, yeah.
drinking spring
I can
water
relate. Yeah.
in comparison to what I had before. So no one needs to feel fear. Uh, of okay, what am I getting into here? Do I have to go down to a synagogue and sign up, and a bunch of people are going to come to my door and start asking me questions? No, you are a
Or I
free.
have to
I
give you
have
my
to give you
bank
my bank
account.
account.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no, no.
You're free to take this knowledge and reap the benefits from it, or do what you want with it, but at least be aware of it.
Yeah.
By the
And by
way,
the way,
just wanted to point out, we have one of the resources at the Center for Unity is the Urantia Book Pod, where we had a podcast, AI generated podcast that talks about, explains a little bit and discusses, and a lot of the readers are really enjoying it because it's like you and I just discussing this, but going bit by bit from the each document, and they're really enjoying it. So anybody can, maybe you don't want to. It's not going to be your first contact to go and read the book right away. We have a lot of resources. We have Discovered Jesus, everything that we talked about, the story of Jesus' life and Jesus. We have it every detail, and you can study it on your own. Every resource you can find here in our link tree. We have the hyperlink here, so go there. Please find all of this and use it. I mean, this is and it's free of charge. That's the beauty about this. Like we said, there's no catch. So please enjoy this. And Don, it's been a pleasure. I mean, time flies when I'm conversing with you. So any closing remarks apart from this?
No, I just am happy to be able to participate in putting this information out, and I appreciate the Center for Unity for making this a subject for conversation. I hope that people who are not Urantia Book readers who may happen to peruse this video will have found enough incentive to investigate this beautiful book that's been given to us.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks,
Well, thanks,
Don.
Don.
With that, we'll
With that, we'll
close. And I want to thank all our audience for being here. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification to know when we're coming out with. I mean, it's basically weekly that we come out with segments from the show. And if you like this, also, and tell people about it. It's always important to hear from you that if there was a bunch of interesting folks talking about interesting things. Till next time, I'm Santiago Kneeland. This is the Divine Within. Take care and carpe diem. On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.